So I have been stepping up my tea game lately to try and get a little bit more diversity into my diet. But also teas are just a lot more refreshing and revitalising than just drinking water. And that's something I really didn't do enough of in the last Wild Biome project. So every morning I collect the stream water from down by the stream and I gather a few things. I've got a little bit of cleavers, herb robert, ground ivy, and I'm going to add some lemon balm in a little while. But I've just been kind of like tottering along, following the routines. I've got a nice routine going now, and it's just been kind of nice and relaxing, and I've had a lot of energy, and yeah, it's been very smooth running. I know other people have had trouble embarking on the wild food diet, but I've had very little problems. I mean, the last time I had very little problems too. I just don't think I was eating enough. But this time, I think I've kind of covered all bases and I'm getting everything I need. And I feel really amazing. It's kind of falling into some kind of routine where I can kind of focus on other things too during the day. And as long as I get my meals sorted, I've got loads of time. And I'll have my pemmican in the morning and a spoonful of liver pate, and then I'll go and get my teas, and I'll make something to eat for lunch. It's really beautiful just kind of being in tune with the cycle, in tune with the seasons, and just kind of eating this way. It's also very grounding, because in the modern systems we go to the supermarket, we look at things in the packages, we have no feedback to where it came from, like how it was raised, how it was grown, was there pesticides, herbicides, were the animals grown in cages, were they treated well? All of these things we do not have the feedback to in the supermarkets now. So we've kind of really lost touch with our food and kind of what makes food. 99% of the stuff in the supermarkets is just not good for us. It's a lot of processed junk that we just really don't need. And when I go in there and I have a look at the shelves, when I just need to grab some kitchen towel or something, it's just so surreal. I mean, it's already been quite surreal to me anyway on just eating normally, because I rarely buy anything from the supermarket other than sundries like your kitchen towels and things like that. And also, yeah, maybe I got a bit of rice as well after the wild food diet ended. But it's just so surreal, because most of the shelves are not nice. they're not real food, and I kind of it's just crazy. And then you go to a gas station, for example. I don't anymore because I have my electric van, but you're driving around in petrol cars, you go to the gas station, and in the station for snacks and things, they're just so unhealthy, they're just so unnutritious. And we've got into this strange sort of situation in the modern world where true food, good food, is just so far and few between. Like there's not enough shops, there's not enough local farm shops, and not enough local butchers. The supermarkets have just kind of taken over, and we've just completely lost our grounding. And so that's what the wild food diet kind of brings to me, as a sort of grounding. And I've had that before anyway, because I would normally drink more milk, and I'd go to the farm, I'd know where it comes from, I'd see the cows, I'd see the sheep, and you can see exactly where it's come from, you know where it's come from, you know it's good. And we've just really lost that touch. And with the way the climate's going now, with all these attacks on British farmers, and we're going to slowly lose the farmland to housing, to other developments, to solar, and in the end we're going to be left with nothing. We're not going to be food sustainable, and the farmlands are already suffering because of all the sprays and how we're treating the soil. It's I don't know how much longer we've got left, honestly. But all we can do is kind of make our own choices. We can try and help to push diversity in different ways, and we can choose what we buy, where we buy, but that can only go so far. We need to kind of change the core systems to kind of nourish and nurture what really matters. So something on the last wild biome project that I was really craving, and I just found it so hard to try and harvest because we've got clay soils here, and clay soils are so tough to dig through. But roots are kind of one of the only carbohydrate sources that we can forage out here, and one of the best sources is burdock. And I haven't been able to harvest this last time because I didn't think about it, but I realised that I have some modern tools that could work really well with this, and I'm going to give it a go. So this is what I realised that I didn't have before, and it is a post digger. Now I've already tried this the day before yesterday, and what I realised is that you could actually dig down beside the burdock root, and it kind of opens up a good hole that I can then go in with a trowel down the side and slowly ease the root out, and this thing will go through clay soil no problem. So yeah, we're going to give it a go. Going to see if we can get some roots today, because I've got an idea that I want to try with burdock roots if I can get some at the right stage. Gosh, look at the size of this root. It is absolutely enormous, and it goes all the way down. This is a big one, and thankfully this part isn't actually clay soil. A lot of the land is, but there are a lot of bricks in here which I have to try and dig through. So I'm hoping we get a good amount of root out. I've already down quite deep, so we'll see how it goes. Finally did it. Look at the size of this root. That is enormous, and that post digger helped a lot, but I had to keep digging down because it was such a big root that I couldn't get it out until I went right down. But wow, that's got to be a foot long. So I dug up 4 burdock roots in the end. There was one small one that I just kind of filled back in. It wasn't worth harvesting, but look at this bounty. So this was done in probably half the time that it would have taken to just use the normal trowel or digging stick in clay soil. That just made the big hole, and I got the rest this way. So the post digger made the main hole, and then I used the trowel just to get around the root and free it from the soil. So this should be a nice bounty to play with. I just got to wash them up and peel them, and then they'll be ready for cooking. So now we have a rather tough job. We need to skin the root. And what I've been doing a little bit differently, I've been having a go at, is something that I've been kind of craving. I want to make some kind of burdock root hash brown. So what I've been doing is peeling this tough fibrous layer back, and once we have that done, we're just putting it through a grater. a really fine one. And then what we end up with is this really fine mixture. And what I'm thinking of doing is binding that with a little bit of acorn flour and frying them up as like little acorn, little burdock and acorn hash browns. So we'll see what happens. Carbohydrates are such a hard thing to come by in the wild, and I'm so happy that I've got this today. It's going to be quite a treat, but I've got a few more roots to process, and we'll see. But with all this stuff here, I'm kind of debating on maybe dehydrating it, because this one's quite clean, so I might dehydrate it and then try and powder it down and use it as some kind of spice perhaps, or add it to foods for something. I don't want to throw it away. I'll only throw away the really muddy ones that you weren't able to clean completely, but we shall see. And then that's the next one ready to grate. So now we have our burdock root. I have put a little sprinkle of garlic mustard seed in there, but what we're going to do is to add roughly, I think there's around 20 grams of acorn flour in there. We're just going to add that to help bind it. We're going to put roughly, we're going to put roughly a little, I'm going to say about half a teaspoon of common hogweed seed, and then what's going to make it really delicious is that we're going to use probably maybe half a teaspoon of wild garlic salt, and that will give it a lovely garlicky flavour. And then we're just going to add a pinch of normal sea salt, just to make it taste nice once we fry it in the tallow. And finally, because birch syrup tastes really good with a little bit of sweetness, we're going to add some birch syrup. I think I'll be a little bit generous and I'll add maybe 2 tablespoons in there. So that's roughly 20-30 grams. And add a little bit of water, get it all nice and mixed up, and we should be good to start frying. This didn't quite go to plan. I had to actually end up draining the water out rather than putting more water in. Had to add another little bit of acorn flour, and I had to use some egg rations up. I don't really like to use the eggs because you can't get wild birds' eggs on the diet since it's illegal to pick them. So I really try not to eat them. But we do have our own hens that are free range, so this is the first time I've actually used the eggs during the project, other than Gemma's cakes. Yeah, this is kind of coming together now. I don't think this is how I want to do it. I really needed some sweet chestnut flour in, ideally, in order to make this the kind of hash browns that I was thinking about. But as long as they're edible, that will be fine. Whew. Gosh, that turned into more work than I wanted to. I started at about 11 AM, I think, or midday, and now it's just past 3 o'clock going on 4. Still haven't done half the things I wanted to do today, but the burdock root, that did make it a lot easier to harvest, but because it's my first time playing with it, I had all sorts of other issues. So getting it too late when it was too fibrous, so I was only able to use half of it, and then I didn't have any sweet chestnut flour in, and that's kind of, I think, would have been the biggest factor so I didn't have to use an egg ration to bind these little cake things, and I mean they turned out okay, I suppose. I wanted them to be a little bit different, but let's see. It's edible. I'm going to eat them anyway. The experiment didn't quite go as I'd planned. I mean, they're not that bad tasting, but it's not quite the texture and flavour that I wanted to kind of achieve with it. Yeah, I think they're actually quite tasty. I want to try and find a way to not have to use an egg for binding, which I think sweet chestnut flour would be that way. Or I should probably find another way to use it in completely. So say for example, like blitz them or make them really fine, or even just fry them up without trying to bind them. So just grate them and then fry them with a little bit of acorn flour. And that's the thing with food though, is in the modern world, if we make a mistake, we often just chuck it out, start again. With wild food, and when you're relying on it, even if you don't quite do exactly what you wanted to do, you still have to eat it because you need that food, you need that nutrition. Now thankfully I managed to salvage it, and it's become edible, and kind of it isn't bad. It will do for this meal. But they are essential carbohydrates that I have been lacking on the wild biome. So I might try and dig up some more roots at some point, maybe some younger ones, try the same again, see what I can achieve. So it's but doing this method with the hole digger makes it so much easier and so much quicker. So I think I might have another go at it at some point and see how we go. Speaking of successes, this actually turned out really nice. I thought I'd try a different herbal tea instead of using my blackberry stores. We had such an abundant blackberry season last year, and I harvested so many I couldn't eat all of them during winter. So I have tons to spare and loads for the Wild Biome project. But this is actually made with elderberries that I dried and stored. I had quite a lot of elderberries last year as well, and I thought I'd make a tea. So my usual thing with water mint, ground ivy and cleavers. And I put some elderberries in there, some dried ones, and just let them sit till it cooled down. And I tried it earlier, and it's so good. So I think I'm going to do that again at some point. I think that's it for the video for now. I just wanted to take you along on the journey, just as I experimented with burdock roots. And yeah, it was a success. Not the success I wanted, but thankfully it turned into something edible that I will quite happily eat and give me some nourishment and carbohydrates, and then I'll make something for dinner later on. So for now I'm going to leave you with these burdock cake fritters, something, not hash browns, which is what I was trying to do, but still edible, still good nonetheless. So I'm going to leave you with these, and I am going to carry on with what I need to get done today, because instead of just trying to video it all and try and record it all, I just need to carry on and do some other routines, make sure I get that out of the way before it gets too late. So yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe and follow if you'd like to see more of the wild food diet. And yeah, that's me for today, and I will see you next time.